You are listening to the Calm Down podcast, the podcast where candid, thought-provoking, and rare conversations happen while amplifying people's stories around the world. Here, we take it one day at a time and also rant on simple causes people don't observe or are just oblivious to. I am your host, Violaekene. I am an on-air personality, podcaster, YouTuber, and content creator. Calmers, what is up? Welcome to episode 38 of the Calm Down podcast. Thank you so much for clicking the play button to listen. You are the real MVP. Can you believe it? We're just 2 episodes away from episode 40. Oh my God. You know, I was just thinking about it before I hit the play button, and I just remembered starting this podcast few months ago, and now we're at 40 episodes and we've been producing content. We've been, being consistent over here, and through this podcast, we got to know each other, right? I mean, this is so huge for me. Thank you so much for being part of this journey. We are almost about to hit 40 episodes of this podcast, and it means so much. It means so much. How are you doing? How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying sane. Just like I said in the last episode, that is the question we should all be asking ourselves in this 2020. When you see your friend, you'll be like, how are you staying sane? I hope you're staying sane, right? I hope you're okay. That question is so relevant because it's been a year. Man, it's been a whole full year. And as for me, I'm fine. I'm fine. And I feel like there's nothing so interesting about me. But I feel like I have the same routine, which is just to work, to eat, and then to sleep, and probably scroll through I scroll to social media because that's where I work. But yeah, I am doing absolutely amazing. So yeah, I also wanted to let you know this big announcement. Hang on, wait for it. Okay, so on 1st December, guys, is this podcast podversary, this podcast first anniversary. I don't even know how to react. I don't even know how to feel. And right now, when I'm recording this, right now that I'm recording this, it is kind of 2 weeks. In the next 2 weeks, this podcast would be 1 year old. Oh my God. I don't even know how to feel. This podcast would become 1 year old. And to celebrate that podversary, I'm going to be posting on our social media platforms. That is this podcast Instagram platform. And on Twitter, the Twitter is at podcastcalm, and the Instagram is at the_calm_down_podcast. I am going to be posting what I'll be doing for that particular episode. And it's most likely going to be a Q&A because a lot of you have asked me to do a Q&A episode where you get to ask me the questions that you've always wanted to ask me. So yeah, I'm going to keep that slot open very soon so that you can send in your questions. And I don't have plans yet, but I just want to let you know that, be the first person to know that this podcast will be 1 year old on 1st December 2020. Hey. Okay, so you remember in the last episode, I was raving about how much I wanted to watch the movie Citation because, it gathered a lot of hype on social media. I was like, this movie that everybody's talking about, I need to watch it. And I told you that if I watch it, I'm going to talk about it. I have watched the movie and I have a lot to say. You all know that if you know me very well, right? And if you've noticed, I'm an honest critic, right? I love to criticize things honestly. So I have watched the movie and I just have a lot to say. Anyways, I'm not going to go into the review in this episode because I already have a separate video that I reviewed it exclusively. It was straight to the point. I have it on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to leave the link in the description box. Click on it, watch the review, and please drop me a comment in the comment section to let me know how the movie made you feel and what you think about the review that I dropped. Was there anything that you noticed? Is there anything? Just drop what you felt about the movie, all right? Okay, so let's head over to this particular episode, right? You remember I was also so excited about this episode because of the story that this episode carries. And I'm happy that we are coming forward to share our stories because by sharing our stories, we just get to have a glimpse of what other people's realities are. And in case you're wondering, in case this is your first time, we are currently on a series on this podcast called Stories Around the World, where, people come in and share their stories with us. These stories might be from things you've gone through and overcame, your experiences, maybe something you're currently going through, or an event you witnessed happen. I believe our stories are powerful, and they're even more powerful when it is told by us ourselves, okay? So that is why I always encourage you to come forward and share your story, and it will be featured in an episode of this podcast. So first of all, guys, I need you to listen to this particular story, and I'll be back as usual to share my thoughts on this story. This is a story every man and every woman, right? We're only man and woman in this world, so everybody should listen to. You should definitely listen to this story. So hang in there, and I'll be right back.
Viola, thank you for having me on your platform. Like this, a really big privilege, and I want to use this opportunity to tell you that I really appreciate what you do, and I love each and every episode of your podcasts. So this is me sharing my story with you and the members of your community. Well, I want to talk about a lot though, but I'll be limiting it to my experience before and after pregnancy. Okay, so I'll be talking about two things here. The first is my stature. Okay, yeah, I'm slim, and most times when a lady gets pregnant, or let me say, when a lady gets married, you understand, people expect her to add and all that. But then my genetic factor didn't really give me that aspect when it comes to it. Didn't crown me with the privilege of gaining weight and all that. So when I was pregnant, I really lost weight. You won't say I wasn't feeling well. I was. In fact, I was really feeling well. But then I lost a lot of weight during pregnancy. And I got a lot of questions from those who could ask questions. And I saw some pitying eyes, you understand? But then I didn't really take it to heart, because I had to like get myself to accept that this is my station and everything. So when after put to bed, I didn't still gain weight. Even while breastfeeding, I didn't gain weight. I have been called that once, not twice. But then the last one that got to my nerve was when there was a certain time I posted a picture, and someone replied and was like, "This looks like your throwback," something like that. It really got to me. And the reason why it got to me was like, he was in my DMs already telling me how I looked so skinny and all that, if I'm happy in my marriage and all that. Like, come on. Like, I don't know why people get to conclude that someone is not happy in her home just from physical appearance. Like, how? Okay, the thing is this. I got to understand that a lot of people are really watching. Like, people are watching, and they are looking for every little thing to be judgmental, like for them to be judgmental or something. Then I was like, come on, why would you say that? Like, why would you say such? Well, in fact, after that day, that was when I had a lot more confidence boost, you understand? Because I got to understand that you come online and you see a lot of ladies, a lot of women, a lot of mothers that will be looking for, drugs to take, that will pay a huge amount of money to go on a diet and all that. For me, I've been given the privilege to maintain my stature, which is very nice, and I still get peering eyes of judgmental individuals. Like, I just don't get it. Then another one I want to talk about after my pregnancy journey, and this is where I would advise expectant mothers and maybe mothers that are the expectant mothers, both single ladies and married women, and those and mothers, like mothers already, that are mothers already, you understand. After I want to talk about my postpartum depression, because my skinny nature didn't really it didn't cause me depression. What actually caused me depression was the stretch marks on my stomach. Yes, and that is it. So I really lost confidence in myself after putting to bed, because my stretch mark was so damn much, and my stomach was like, God, I don't even know how to. It's still like that though. Although it's getting a little bit firm now, but I had a loose belly after putting to bed. So I felt so ashamed. Like, how would I pull off in front of my husband? Then the breast also, sagging breast and all that. But then I went through this postpartum depression for almost, say, 6 months after putting to bed. But then I got to look at my son and I was like, this is like, I had to pay the price. This should be my body should be a significance of what I went through. Like, I'm supposed to pride in this. It should be my pride and not the other way around. So to every expectant mother, some persons might get back to their shape, to their normal body shape after putting to bed. Some persons, like, their skin won't be as dry as mine, that get loose after pregnancy and all that. But for those who would notice changes, or who noticed changes in their body, and it gets to give them postpartum depression, I just want to say this. It should be something you have to be proud in. Like, you have to be proud of it. You have to be proud of it. You really have to be proud of it, because, man, that is the mark of everything you went through to give birth to that little, tiny, beautiful, innocent angel. God bless you. So, thank you very much, Viola, for having me here once again. I really, really appreciate. I hope I didn't get to bore your audience. Thank you.
Omo, hey, this story, when I was listening to it, I got a little bit emotional, because this story just reinstates how much we should stop giving our unsolicited opinions about people's bodies. And it also brings to light how much powerful and how powerful we women are. You know, we carry a life for 9 months, we birth it. It's a miracle. I really don't understand any miracle that is as great as that. Like, when you see images of how the baby grows in the womb of a woman, it's mind-blowing. Like, it's something that you try to fathom how this was even thought about, you know? It's so beautiful. This story also brings to light the fact and that women, most times, the reason why women go through postpartum depression most times is mostly from how they feel their body looks after giving birth. And also, most times, the husbands are not supportive at this time. So I'm not really going to say much, because, the story, she even gave advice in it too. But please, if you're a man, if you're a guy listening to me, either you're married or unmarried, or you're still yet to marry or whatever, please, when you get married or you're married, please do not forget to always be there for your wife, okay? Especially while she is pregnant, and especially after she has given birth. Why I say this is because, we women, we have a way of we love to look good all the time. And pregnancy kind of like takes a lot from the woman. So we start, first of all, with being pregnant. You start to lose your shape a little bit. Your stomach starts to get bigger. And then after you give birth, there's just this societal pressure that you have to go back to normal. And then when you go to social media, you get to see some mothers that will tell you, after 6 weeks. It's okay. Some mothers really bounce back. Their body really bounces back immediately after childbirth. But for some mothers, it doesn't always happen like that. So please, you always have to be there for them, okay? Emotionally and psychologically. And for mothers, listen to me, you birthed a whole miracle. Please, first of all, take it one day at a time. Appreciate yourself. Do not rush in and start doing exercises in the name of you trying to get your body back when your body is still trying to heal from the miracle that you birthed. So please, take it easy, okay? You're beautiful, you're amazing. If not for anything, if you think, I'm just saying that I'm beautiful just to make you feel good. But for the fact that you gave birth to that child, look at that child. That child came out of you. You carried that child for 9 months. You went through labor. Some people even go through longer hours of labor. You're amazing. You're a god, okay? So please, I want you to know that you are doing well. And please take your time so that before you bounce back, all right? I feel like there's always this constant thing about we human beings to try to impress people. Whenever that feeling comes, because I'm not going to pretend that feeling will not always come, whenever it comes, please remind yourself that you birthed someone. You birthed a human being. You gave birth to a life. You did such a huge miracle, okay? And it's okay, like when you go to social media, you see a mother that just gave birth like you, and it seems that her body had bounced back, and you want to feel some sort of pressure on yourself. Remember, I want you to just, after listening to this, or you can pause this right now, go to Google, right, and type what some women, or studies of what some women, how their life was, or how their life became after they gave birth. Some people lose their leg. I'm not joking. Like, go to Google and search this. I'm not joking. Some people lose their leg. Some people lose this. Some people lose that. And I wonder, after everything that women go through, some people will have the audacity to just say that kind of thing about their body. So I want you to know that you are amazing, okay? You risked your life to bring another life into this world. You deserve an award, okay? So always remind yourself of these things. And for us, and for other people, please always remember that, like I'd always say, stop dropping opinions about people's body. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're fighting. You don't know the demons they're dealing with. Just shut up. Don't say anything, okay? Yes, they suddenly got fat. Keep it to yourself. Or they suddenly got slim. Keep it to yourself. Unless you guys are really close, like you're very close friends with that person. I'm very, very big on the word close friends, because a lot of us think we are close friends with people when we just want to gossip and we were not really interested in that person's well-being. If you're really close friends with that person, you can show your consent by asking, right? But please, if you're just a total stranger, stay away. And before you even ask as a close friend, you should study the environment, study her mood to understand her, okay? And if you call yourself a close friend, that means your interest, that person's interest, that is your friend, right, is the first in your heart, right? So please, we can always do better, right? We can do better, okay? So I want to know how this episode made you feel. I also want to know if you have extra opinions, if there's an experience that you want to share, if there's a story that you also want to share on this podcast, you're so much welcome. So I have created a story guide to help you in recording your story. The link to download yours is in the description box of this episode. And if you want to drop me a voice message to share your thoughts and your opinions about this episode, please do so. Drop me a voice message. I would really, really appreciate that. I'm going to see you in episode 39. Thank you so much for listening to this point. I so much appreciate you. And if you want to support this podcast, you can do that through my Shukran link. Tip for any amount that you want, 100 Naira, $1, $1,000, thousands and millions of dollars. It's so much appreciated for the expansion of this podcast. I'll see you in episode 39. Remember that you're amazing. You don't have to mount pressure on yourself. It is really unnecessary, and I love you so much. Bye.